Hey there. I'm going to tell you about how things unfolded in the years immediately before I came to America back in 2014. Beginning about 2011, 12, something like that, a few years before I actually pulled the trigger, I began to dream. Dream away. I had this dream of coming back to America, and a very particular dream. Uh, I had this desire to bring Emily back, so that she could, experience this and learn about this side of her cultural heritage. And then I know Yumiko always enjoyed living here, so that would be fun. And the work in Japan was never very satisfying to me. Losing my business and all that. Well, the business was fun. Losing it wasn't fun. But being an English teacher, maybe if that had been my profession, if I had wanted to be a teacher, that would have been different. But it was just kind of like something I did. It wasn't very satisfying. Boy, have I been disabused of that. I no longer require a satisfying job. In fact, I'm ready to have no job. So for myself, when I pictured coming back, of course, it would be Southern California because that's where my family is. I had a very particular dream. Before we had gone to Japan and before Emily had been born, I had a couple of street bikes and a couple of dirt bikes before that. And in particular, the street bike that I had before Emily was born, I sold it just before Emily was born, when Yumiko was pregnant, was a BMW R1100 GS Adventure, 1999 model, old style. And not the really old style, but it was old enough. Don't need to get upset. We have fishy business. The dog can bark. So I had this dream, and I really enjoyed it. I used to go riding out to the desert, doing all kinds of stuff. This was before Softy Papa, but the preamble years, wander around in the desert. I didn't quite have my head collected in such a way to do anything with what I was experiencing out there yet, but I knew there was something about it. And I thought, if I can get back to America, I kind of had enough of the walking in Japan, the walking in Japan thing. If I can get back to America. I hear fishy business. Now he's prone to bite me when I hold him. He doesn't like that. There he goes. Hold on. Ollie, it's okay. Ollie, come here. Ollie boy, good boy. Now Ollie, the black dog's a little more controllable. This guy's a little bit crazy. So, okay. So you sit here. Whoa. Ollie, you're cool. Good boys. He's looking at me like, am I cool? You are. So I had this idea that when we got back to America that I would buy another motorcycle, particularly a GSA, a GS Adventure, a particular type of dual sport BMW motorcycle. And I would go out and explore in the desert again. Now, if you've stuck with me through these America years, you know what I've done with that, right? I have indeed followed through on that, and have, had the whole going alone thing. The adventures, the stoic poetry, the book Going Along. I was able to finish the book No More Looking Out for Number One, which I wrote before but hadn't finished. I wrote Freeway Bible Study, and I'm still editing The Good Life. So basically 3 new books and the editing and completion of a 4th. So a lot came of that. So basically from 2014 February to now, which is what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4. Was it a good 7 years? Pretty good showing of effort for that. So I think I made a good use out of that. And it's good that I did that, because the Japan years were done. I had wrung that sponge clean, and it was dry, and it was done. It was good that I came back and did this. Now, this has kind of the same feeling. I kind of feel like I'm back in that same position where this going alone thing is kind of run its course. My work here is done. More than that, my work here is done insofar as Emily is grown and she's at home now because of COVID, but soon she'll be going back out to university, and on her own. And then within just a couple of years, she'll be a university graduate. Hopefully, she'll have a job, and who knows what her life will be. Her life will be her own. Yumiko and I we always talk well and often about life. We're pretty much ready for something different. What we're ready for is to stop working. We've got a plan. We can probably pull that off, with various degrees of success. A little longer that we wait. One idea is to wait until Emily graduates in about 2 years and then retire then. That would be a decent retirement. It would be a little bit tricky until age 62 when Social Security kicks in, but my state pension will get us by nicely. Probably have to do a little bit of side work until 62. If we work until 62, we'll be in nice shape altogether. If we quit work at 60, we will. We're still some years away from Medicare, Medicaid, whatever it is. So the smart thing to do, and the thing that I want to do, is to go back to Japan to wait out the start of the state medical insurance here in the United States, and maybe not even come back for that. I wouldn't mind spending the rest of my life in Japan. It's a good place. I think Yumiko might be the one that might want to come back here. And maybe by then, maybe between age 60 and 65, we'll be ready to come back. But what to do in the years when we go back? What if we do go back at age, both 57? What if we do go back at age 60, which is 3 years from now? Emily will be out of school, hopefully on her own, having her own life. We could go back to Japan and essentially be fully retired at that point. Maybe work a little bit just for mad money, just to afford maybe some travel and the like. Or maybe just because it's fun. I thought about maybe I'd start up my old eBay business again, perhaps. But one idea that I had that was born of the recent experience now working in Ventura, where I stay in Airbnbs every week, is why not Airbnb? So the place where my wife's family lives in Shizuoka, and that's where we go back to, of course, to be close to her family. As you know, there's this Shizuoka city proper, but then just within 15 minutes of the city, there's an incredible suburban and rural setting. That was the whole focus and emphasis of my Softy Papa years, the Walking in Japan and Band in Japan years. I can easily access that again. You don't even really need a car, just a scooter, a train, or a bicycle will do the job, although a car helps. Do you remember, if you've been following me long enough, all those abandoned houses out there? Do you remember how many places I would walk past that were housing structures with outbuildings and stone wall terraces for rice farms and tea farms and even wasabi farms where the waterfalls came down out of the cold mountain waters coming down? Do you remember all of those? I made a whole channel about it, Abandoned Japan. Do you remember how readily accessible those were? Do you remember there was the one farmer that in the village of Nagaguma, the Long Bear, who actually offered me a place? He said, give me a basket of summer vegetables every summer, and we'll call it square. He just wanted someone to watch the place and help it to deteriorate away and to be sucked into the forest again. By the way, if you can see the smoke coming up, I'm not smoking. I have a container of Katori Sanko. Can you see the smoke? Remember this stuff from Japan? We got some of it here. Mosquitoes are rare in California, but we have been getting a few. So I put that under the chair here when I'm here, and it combines gets away the mosquitoes, but it reminds me of Japan with that particular smell. So what if we went back to Japan? We got ourselves a little place in the city, and I've been researching them. We could get a little 2-bedroom apartment, or even a small house, somewhere around Shizuoka, for as cheap as $500 to $1,000 a month. Places aren't that expensive. closer you are to the train stations, the more expensive it is. That would be nice, but if we're retired, we don't need that convenience necessarily. We don't have a kid anymore to worry about taking to school. We don't have jobs to go to, so we can live a little out of the way. Maybe get ourselves a little K car. I've been corresponding with Mully, Jim, and asking him about the price of various things, and I've even set up a budget. So what if we were to get all that set up? Get a little 2-bedroom place, maybe 10 minutes. Hi. Hello. 10 minutes walking distance from the train station, just a little ways out, and settle back into our lives. I would really enjoy spending my time reading my books. Of course, the dogs would go with us if they're still around. Spend time with my boys and my books and the like. I would really like to become softly papa again. To go out into the wild, and I think I could do it now with a renewed energy and vision and maturity that was basically comes of this experience of coming back to the U.S., which is certainly the hardest thing I've ever done, and having, dare I say, successfully, managed to plant a flag back in the United States and say, we did it. We did it, and now retreat back to the safety of Japan. I think I could do that. I think the world weariness that I felt, maybe it's gone for good. Dare I say that it might be. I hope so, maybe. Hold on. You see where this is headed. Go back, get settled in Japan, close to Yoko, my sister-in-law, Takeshi and his family, and Dad, and settle into our little lives and begin the wanderings that I used to do. But imagine being able to do it in earnest and without need to go back to a job on Monday. Imagine being able to just literally with a backpack head off into the Japanese mountains for days, weeks, months, and just wander, What might come of that? So this other idea, circling back to the Airbnb thing, and those little Japan farmhouses. What if I was able to secure myself a little farmhouse out there in the mountains? Someplace close to maybe the Abegawa River, or maybe one of the tributaries up there that lead into the Abegawa, some of those areas that I used to explore in Japan. Heaven knows off the top of my head, I can think of a dozen candidate beautiful homes that are probably still sitting there right now, just kind of fading away into the forest, that with a little bit of effort I might be able to rent or maybe even buy. What if instead of necessarily wandering around all the time, what if I was to devote my time to refurbishing one of those, getting it back to its former glory, and then maybe making it available as like an Airbnb? And maybe live there even. Although I don't think Yumiko would want to live out there in the mountains. We'd have to keep our place in civilization, but it would certainly be a place where I could go out with my books and sit and enjoy the mountains. I've got this fantasy now that I tell Yumiko. I long for the day when I wake in the morning on a Monday or a Tuesday, and you know how it is when you wake up and suddenly you're kind of drifting out of sleep, and you can hear the sizzle, and you realize, or the patter, and you realize, oh, it's raining. Oh crap, it's raining, because you have to go to work. And I have this fantasy, I tell her, of realizing, of hearing that sound, and because I've done it so many times in Japan. I used to work when I worked at that one school with Mully. I used to work within 15-20 minutes walking distance of where I lived. Remember all those videos I made as Lyle's brother, holding the camera, traipsing back and forth? That's where I did all of those, and slogging through the rain, and getting wet, and my feet all wet and all that stuff. And wouldn't it be great to then to rouse yourself in the morning and hear that sound and realize, oh, it's raining. I think I'm just gonna crowd myself back into bed and go back to bed. I want to do that, but I have to do that carefully, right? Because do that a little too much, and then you kind of you start folding yourself into your own grave, perhaps. So I have to watch out for that. But still, Imagine doing that in a mountain home. Remember that one home way, way, way up? The abandoned Japanese farm? Imagine that up in that area where the every evening the mists congeal from the clouds. The clouds literally drop down from the near sheer vertical green walls of mountains. And every evening about 4 p.m., especially in the summer, it begins to light rain. And that sound augments this endless churning tumult. I did make up a word of the rivers below in the waterfalls, and the rain coming down, and the clouds dropping down, and the sound in the summer of the cicadas, and especially the high mountains, those high cicadas, the me. I got the dog's attention. You don't know what I'm talking about, you know. And then me. You know, I'm losing my mind, right? You remember there was that one video, Emily and I, Yumiko and I went up to that walking bridge high up in the mountains where you could, that footbridge across that one emerald lake, and then the cicada up there, unlike anything you hear in Tokyo or down the lowlands or even Shizuoka. You have to get up into the highlands. You hear that, the me, not that deafening cacophony of energy of the cicada life, but that subtle, you know, just echoing reminder that summer has passed, because you'd only hear that sound at the tail end of summer, the mid to end of August, you know, the start of September. That sound that tells you another summer has passed, another warm, life-giving episode is now over, and you're one step closer to death. I hope you make good use of the time that this warm weather was here to wear something floppy and light, to eat watermelon, and to have some cold soba with wasabi, and to watch the children chase the cicadas and the butterflies, and to put your foot in the stream and your feet in the stream, and to listen in the evening, and to just live. As only in Japan. I'm sure lots of places are like that, but for me, in my experience, that Japan was the place for that. I don't get that here in Southern California. It's just this nonstop riot of consumption and living, and you know, excess and plumage, and just the level 9 moments that never end despite the season, compared to the cyclical nature of places like Japan. Well, anyway, there's my idea. What do you think, dogs? Oh, they hear another dog. Well, I think I'll sign off from there and get back to my book. I'm hoping that Yumiko's gift will arrive. I got her a birthday present that should be arriving today, but they had trouble delivering it this morning. It's kind of big, so we'll see. I got my eyes open for the post office guy. I hope it arrives tonight. Emily is taking Mom and me for Yumiko's birthday out to a Mexican place that she found. Chris, her boyfriend, is coming, I think, and we're gonna have a fun time. We're gonna enjoy the life, and like I said, I think change may be on the wind. In a couple of years down the road, pretty sure we're going to be back in Japan. Pretty sure. I'm nearly positive. But there may be other changes too, and I'll sign off at that. So, take care, everybody. Boys, shall we get back to our book? Shall we? Seneca has another book, I think, called On the Shortness of Life. What a good book that would be to read. I'm making slow but steady progress. It's very, very good. Okay. This is the epistles, so I've also read his treatise on anger, but next up after that, maybe I'll find the On Shortness of Life, and I'll say goodbye on almost 20 minutes. Wow, goodness. Well, I guess what better way to spend a Saturday, right? Okay, take care, everybody. Remember, be safe, but not too safe. Maybe see you in the mountains. Oh, and if I do go through with this and I make that place in the mountains and I make it for Airbnb, you can come see me. and I'll take you up into the mountains, and you can stay in my little Airbnb up in the mountains. And maybe if you want, we can go for a hike together. And if you come in the summertime, we'll dip our feet in the stream and have watermelon and listen to the cicada, and we'll get moistened as the rain drops out of the sky. And I'll leave you with that thought. Come see me if I set all this up, okay? Let me know if you're interested. Let it in comments. Comment below if you think this is something that I should pursue, and if you'd want to come visit me in Japan and stay in my house in the mountains as like an Airbnb thingy. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.